Hello again. I thought it was about time that I did a What's in My Bag video, except it's going to be called What's Not in My Bag, and I'm going to split it into two parts. The first one is what I have when I go out and about with my smartphones. First thing to say is that my, if you like, daily driver of a smartphone is a very basic Samsung A20e. I use it as a phone for speaking to people in the real world and for texting people, obviously. At a push, I will use the camera on it. It's usable, but out of preference, I would just use this for what it's designed for, I guess, which is speaking to people, communicating. When I have it around doing videos like this, it's on silent for obvious reasons. But apart from that, yeah, it lives in my pocket and goes with me everywhere. And it's, of course, an Android phone. As some of you who have been with me for a few months now may well recall, I had a Google Pixel 4a, which I purchased mainly because of its reputation for the imaging side, in particular the ability for it to take excellent nighttime images. So that's why I purchased it. I no longer have it, mainly because I don't have the time or the ability really to do a lot of nighttime photography. And I felt it was better to invest in an iPhone rather than the Pixel 4a for reasons that I will come on to shortly. At the end of this video, which I hope isn't going to drag on too long, I will put up images taken on the smartphones I have now and that I have owned, and you'll be able to see the kind of results that you can expect from my style of photography. I have to emphasize that. I'm the first to admit that not everybody's going to like my style of photography. The joy of being an amateur is that you can do and photograph exactly what you like. When you're a professional, that goes out the window. You have to photograph what the client wants. Anyway, back to keeping on topic, something I very rarely do. The Pixel 4a went. I have replaced it with iPhone 8 Plus, Apple product, of course. I'm not going to describe the iPhone to you. Anybody using an iPhone will realise that this is, by today's standards, quite ancient. I think they're on, what are they, 13 now? 8 Plus, purchased second-hand, pre-owned, whatever you want to call it. But nevertheless, I got it in exchange, if you like, for the Pixel 4a. Because the main reason for that was because when I'm filming with the iPhone, I use an app called Filmic Pro, which I had installed on the Pixel 4a as well. But the app doesn't give you full access to all the facilities when you're using an Android device or the Pixel 4a. You only get all of the facilities unlocked when you use an iOS device, an iPhone. So that was the main reason for me to change. I also struggled at the time to find a case for the Pixel 4a that would accept accessory lenses and filters. So initially I started out life by buying a close-up lens, and it's one of these that clips on. Hope you can see that. They're not really brilliant. They work. I can even put it onto my little Samsung without too much effort. and it works. You have to be very careful with centering it over the camera lens. So with regard to the Pixel 4a, that's where I started with the accessory lenses. But I wanted something on the iPhone that was more secure. And I was fortunate in as much as I managed to get hold of a Lemuro Case, which is a company that I think was a Kickstarter, successful when it first launched. They have since gone out of business, I believe. But the Lemuro Case for the iPhone has screw-in attachments for lenses. So I thought, okay, that's a good way to get more secure, easier location lenses for the iPhone. So at the same time, I invested in a Lemuro Anamorphic lens, which I haven't actually used yet. Shows you how keen I am. But I'm looking forward to doing some video with that. And these lenses screw into the back. It's still not perfect, you know, you have to be careful because the threads aren't that clever. The other lens that I invested in is this one, which is a 60mm Tele Lens. If I put it over the portrait lens on the 8 Plus, it does make a great deal of difference, most useful. And at least it's secure, there's no chance of it falling off. And they're quality items, these German manufacture, German glass, metal mounts. And I got them at a knockdown price simply because the company has gone out of existence. The other app that I was very keen to make use of was one called Even Longer, which allows you to do long exposure photography without the need for neutral density filters. Now, the only requirement you have to use that app is that the camera, your smartphone, must be perfectly still. And what it does, it takes several images, stitches them all together, and produces a really marvelous effect, to be honest with you. And again, at the end of the video, you'll see an image, probably the only one that I was really happy with, but you'll see an image taken on the iPhone using the Even Longer app. To that end, and really only because of using the Even Longer app, I have purchased a mobile phone clamp which fits onto a tripod. This particular one is made by Newer. Mainly plastic construction. It's all adjustable for different sizes of phone. You can twist it so that you can hold your phone either vertically or horizontally. 1/4 inch thread on the base, which will mean that it can fit very happily onto any tripod. A tripod is something that you will not see in my bag. I have one, well I have two, I'm telling a lie already. I have two, but I don't normally take them out and about with me. I've never been a great lover of using a tripod. They're restrictive for the kind of photography that I do, and I've got to emphasize that. My style of photography and tripods don't usually go together. I live in a very urban environment. The chances for me to do long exposure photography, such as waterfalls and coastal scenes, is very, very limited. So more often than not, I travel very light, minus a tripod. I do have a little Manfrotto Pixie tabletop tripod, all metal construction, little ball socket, which is handy to get the camera or smartphone leveled off if you've got it on an uneven surface. That I've had for quite a few years now. I do have a clip-on neutral density filter, variable neutral density filter, which, you know, it works, but the problem with these things is, and they don't always tell you this when you buy the damn things, but you see, it clamps onto my 8 Plus perfectly happily. It's pretty secure. I can rotate it without any fear of the filter falling off. What they don't tell you is that unless you're very careful, it will actually obscure the controls on the front of the smartphone, which you need to access when you're using the blasted filter. Frustrating in the extreme. Anyway, there we are. So I have those items. The other item which I have, which really is a backup, and I would advise anybody to use one of these, is a power bank. You can get them extremely cheaply, and it's handy to have. My particular iPhone, as I say, it was purchased used, and it seems to drain the battery even when the damn thing's turned off. So having a power bank is a necessity, really. What else have we got? Okay, with regard to audio, this is being shot, as you can probably tell, on the GoPro, which is a Hero 7. It's grey, not black. And I purchased it with the vlogging housing, which also comes with a little plug-in microphone. So that's what's doing the audio at the moment. In addition to that, I was given a present of a lovely Rode shotgun mic, which I do use when I'm out and about, but I must invest in a dead cat for it. It is still very susceptible to wind noise. And then more often than not, when I'm out and about, you've probably seen the cable hanging down in all sorts of awkward places. I do have a lav mic, which is cabled. I haven't bothered to invest in a radio mic, but I did get this one because it has about 30 feet of cable with it, which means that, you know, I'm not restricted to standing really close to the camera. The downside is if I'm using the GoPro and I'm wearing this, most of this is actually tucked up inside my pocket. And of course, with if you're filming using an iOS device, an iPhone, then you do need to get an adapter from the 3.5 jack to an Apple Lightning connector, which is what this little white bit is here. But that's been very good, and it's cost about, I don't know, £10–15. Nothing really. So that's always in my bag. So when I'm going out and about with a smartphone to do photography, I will definitely have my lav mic. I will definitely have my Tele Lens, and in future the Anamorphic lens. They will both be with me. Definitely my power bank, and probably my variable ND filter. That's it, essentially. That's it, essentially, which might be quite surprising. It's also very, very portable. It would normally easily fit into my Think Tank retrospective shoulder bag, which you've seen before. That's overkill. I can put sandwiches and coffee and goodness knows what else in there as well. On the odd occasion when I'm able to get further afield to do long exposure photography, coastal work, which I'm hoping to do more of this summer, and things like waterfalls, then I will take definitely the little Pixie that normally lives in the bag anyway, and my, if you like, full-size tripod. Now this is where some of you are going to laugh, me included probably. This is the tripod that I've had for quite a few years now. It's one of these cheap Chinese Zoomy, the type that sort of folds in on itself. Center column, you can reverse and all the rest of it. It's got a quick release head, ball and socket head. For my type of photography, this is perfect. It's not a carbon edition or anything fancy. It's light enough for me to take when I need it, which is not very often. Yeah, and it's one of these also where you can remove one leg and use it, and use it as a monopod. So that's my tripod, which is not usually in my bag. So, smartphone photography. I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's as good as using a conventional camera, but there are many occasions when they can give you results that you could not get with your main, if you like, outfit. If you're used to carrying a big full-frame DSLR outfit around, then this is like nothing in comparison. Absolutely nothing. I mean, you could fit all this into a coat pocket. Well, 2 or 3 coat pockets, admittedly. And you'd be able to have a great time doing all sorts of different subject matter, from close-ups to landscapes to, I mean, you name it. There's nothing that you can't do with these. I would say, obviously, things like wildlife and sports photography, that's a given. They're a big no-no, really, with this kind of equipment. But urban photography, perfectly usable. Street photography, perfectly usable. So I'm going to put some images up on the screen now for you to have a look at. And in the second part of what's not in my bag, I will show you what I take with me with my, if you like, conventional camera outfit when I'm out taking photos. And I think you will be surprised at what's not in my bag. But until then, I will say take care, look after yourselves, enjoy your photography, and I will see you really soon.